its target for revenue.
Auditor, what is your comment on that response?
Thank you, Chair. We evaluated the response, but we noted that the response did not address the issue that we had raised.
So the auditor is saying the response is unsatisfactory.
Chair, maybe then you can allow me to allow Mr. James Maina, who is the accountant, to explain that, because clearly when you make a budget, it's an estimate.
Those sets of documents to verify and submit to us. And the county, you have 14 days on this. And this query also appears, as I said earlier, in the Nyeri Referral Hospital. Same query. So I think there is a problem with the way, the movement of items once they are procured within the hospitals. That is, they don't go through the store, they are sent in bulk to the user departments, which can be a major risk. Hugely. In fact, it can even lead to a loss because, for example, reagents needs to be handled carefully, properly refrigerated, and if they go to an environment where they are not refrigerated, it becomes a problem. So I think those directions are given. So, honorable members, you said we wanted to go through all the reports, and you remember I said the chair has the energy to take you through all that. So I think let's look at on the query on inadequate storage space. That is going to be handled together with what I have just directed. The query on lack of risk management policy, that one we are going to give a recommendation. So we only have two important queries that I want us to cover on this before we conclude on this report. That is non-functional operating theater and lack of land ownership documents. So let's start with the non-functional operating theater. Auditor.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
Would non-functional operating theater also have the same fate as were the issues of capacity that we explored under non-compliance with Kenya Quality Model for Health Policy Guidelines?
No, I think they are not related.
Okay.
They are not directly related. Okay. Because this one touches on issues of renovations that were done, documentation, all that. So it's not the same. So let's start with that, Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Number two, non-functional operating theater. During the year under review, it was revealed that hospitals operating theater have not been functional since the year 2018. Though the theater house was under renovation, no documentation of renovation report was provided on the conditions of the theater and its equipments, which were still in the same building under renovation. In addition, the hospital does not have theater surgeons and theater nurses, and no plans have been put in place to confirm availability after the renovation. This is contrary to Section 153, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which require the accounting officer for a county government entity is responsible for the management of the entity's assets and liabilities and shall manage those assets in such a way as to ensure that the county government entity achieves value for money in acquiring, using, and disposing of those assets. In the circumstances, the theater's equipment may become damaged, obsolete, resulting to loss of public funds, and the facilities may remain unused due to lack of surgeons and theater nurses. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, the management response.
Kahiga.
Chair, through the governor, our response is as follows. The theatre was not functional due to lack of theatre staff and some structural defects that made the theatre unfit for usage, as well as the designation of Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital as a COVID-19 isolation center during the pandemic. The hospital management has informed the Department of Health of the structural defects and the staffing needs, including the theatre. Some of these issues has been addressed. The renovation works has been done, and the County Public Service Board conducted interviews for anesthetists and medical officers. The hospital management will continue to lobby for anesthetists and extra medical officers so as to fully operationalize the theatre. The theatre items and equipments were safely stored in one of the rooms in the ward due to lack of enough storage space in the hospital so as to safeguard them from damage.
And it is important, Chair, to add that it is now operational, fully operational as we speak.
Okay,
Yeah.
Auditor, can you confirm that the theatre is now fully operational?
Thank you, Chair. We are going to confirm this in the coming audit, which is scheduled, to confirm whether this theatre is operational. Thank you.
So, but what is your comment on the response?
The response verified is not satisfactory to the extent of that verification. Thank you.
Yeah, so in those 14 days, 14 days, 7 days we have given you. After you have received, you can also visit the hospital and also give us a report
We will do that.
on
Chair.
whether this theatre is now operational. Proceed.
Chair, but the audit query also is not just limited to the operationality of the theatre. It's also to the issue of documentation, because it talks about the potential of loss of funds. Whenever I see that kind of query, I get my antennas high. I want to just ask the question. I guess I've been overtaken by the answer that the theatre is operational. But how much was used in the renovation? And is there a report, a pre-innovation report? I mean, the pre-innovation report and post-renovation report that is available that this committee can be able to get? Because the pre-renovation will tell us what was intended to be renovated, what was the cost estimate for that, whether there was some engineer's estimate or whichever the contractors were,